who's a dual engineer. He has become the voice of this investigation. I'm going to ask him to share his results with us and to share his contacts with us so that you can get in touch with him, so that people who are witnessing this press conference, qualified scientists who want to participate as part of this investigation and who think that they can contribute something positively, can get in touch directly with Engineer Garrido. We got in touch with Mexico's Autonomous University. We made an agreement with them to have them make the necessary research and analysis. I would also like to add that the UNAM, the university, only did the tests. They're not participating any other way. We only asked them to do the necessary tests at the university. And as Rodolfo Garrido will confirm, the results are absolutely extraordinary. Welcome, Rodolfo. Thank you. Before anything, I'd like to clarify the following. I'm a representative. I don't have that level of being the representative of the university. Actually, I'm part of it. It's our alma mater, my alma mater. Mexico's Autonomous University has the wisest investigators, and it's thanks to that that Mexico is moving forward, that there are investigations that are worthwhile and technologies that are being discovered. There's only a few people that you can count on one. So with due respect to Mexico's Autonomous University, I would like to share all of the results from the investigations that were made in situ. By the way, they have official credentials. They're one of the best investigative bodies out of this continent. They do it like a scientist does it, like an investigator does it, with a proper theory, and I'd like to thank Mexico's university for this. This is an order. It's 5 different studies that were made, and we're going to go into detail eventually. We're going to go by one by one. It's the reference points and magnetic fields. Before anything, and I'd like to say this, that our research organized this in a certain order. The sphere was divided in 3 parts. The north pole of the sphere, the equator of the sphere, or the middle part of the sphere, and the southern part of the sphere as well. And that's when we began our research on the sphere.
3 distinct parts.
The first study that we realized is a magnetic field research, if it had one. So first off, we analyzed it with a gasometer. We have all the results here in the different diagrams. We analyzed it at different points of the sphere, up top, on the bottom, in the middle. But there's 0 magnetic field, which is emanating right now. We can also see it in this diagram as well. And then we approximated a magnet. When we approximated the magnet to the sphere, the gasometer also started measuring in different parts of the sphere.
Okay.
As you can tell, regarding these diagrams, in the final results, it didn't present any changes, important changes regarding static. I'm presenting the results as such. as the researchers from Mexico's Autonomous University delivered to us. Nothing has been altered or changed. This is different positions. You can see the measurements. There's a zero magnetic field.
And I think that's because the sphere goes
Very well. And the other important part is to establish the hardness. How solid is the sphere? And we did specific tests on hardness. He did organized tests, and every 3 centimeters, he marked a different position, and he was measuring the hardness and was recording each of the readings. In the long term, we realized that these readings are stable, which didn't present many differences. Nothing out of the normal, out of the regular for this scientist. They also made certain measurements on the equator of the sphere, and nothing called our attention. Reason for which this says that the research study that is being done by the University of Mexico didn't find anything relevant. So now we're going to do a metallurgical analysis on the sphere. We marked 4 different zones, one at the northern hemisphere, one at the southern hemisphere, and one at the equator. We polished them to be able to reach the first layer of the metal.
Yeah.
Let's go to the first image. This is the sandpaper that we use to sand the sphere to be able to reach the first layer. The type of equipment that was used to polish these certain zones was a regular polisher. And we realized that there's different thicknesses around the sphere. That means the northern hemisphere is thicker than the southern hemisphere. In fact, the central part has got different metallurgical properties than the southern and northern hemispheres. In the southern hemisphere, for example, same as in the northern hemisphere, they found a specific type of aluminum. But towards the center of the sphere, we found a different component. Possibly, we're saying that the difference in thickness is due because of the engraving of the sphere. The sphere has certain symbols on it, and it seems like it was engraved. This is the reason why it's got different thickness. We found perforations, which is like draining the sphere. We drain the sphere in sand as such, and we see certain anomalies on the sphere after we did this. And then there's something that is quite interesting. When we started researching the central part of the sphere, we began to realize that there are certain cracks and that there was something inside those cracks. We would have to view it up close. And then the scientist said that there's something inside the cracks. And we got samples, 6 milligrams of samples from the sphere, which we put under an electron microscope. And what we saw was motivating. It was a discovery that we never imagined. Nevertheless, we discovered the following. What you're witnessing right here. Fiber optics at different diameters. But if there's any doubt that these are fiber optics, then we took the fiber optic to the electron microscope, and we measured the diameter of the fiber optics and the composition. And the composition talks about oxalate, silicate, and zinc. These are the three components that it's made of, the fiber optic, which is regular of which normal fiber optics are made of. We also saw a coating that enveloped the metal. It was like a polymer coating. We have the image. We also analyzed this coating, and we also analyzed the materials that the coating was made of. The polymer was analyzed, and it's made of carbon, nitrogen, and oxygen. So the fiber optics, what's inside the fiber optics, is nothing new. It goes hand in hand with what we know about fiber optics, and it's present within the Buga sphere.
It's how they use it. It's how they use it to be able to levitate and communicate.
A little bit later, we also ran some tests on the surface, which gave us the following results. In one way or another, it tells us that it's less thick in the northern hemisphere. As you can see, this fiber optic is within those cracks that are in the equator. There are fiber optics within the cracks. And then we introduced a laser beam into the fiber optics to see if the light would reflect off of any surface. And there was no reflection whatsoever, which is good news for me. And I will tell you why a little bit later. We also obtain different compositions, metallurgical compositions in the southern and northern hemisphere, and it varies. And we did luminescence tests as well, introducing a laser beam where there's no reflection of light on the inside. The sphere cools down very quickly. When we drained it, it dropped in temperature very quickly, but we realized that the metal basically dissolves as well. We realized that the polymer can't go above 76 degrees centigrade because it would come apart altogether. The optic fibers would basically fall apart. So the sphere's temperature does not reach the higher temperatures. I would. The maximum study house. I'd like to say thank you to Mexico's
That explains,
University.
you know, the test that
gives
David
us the first
did
solid
at Germany
step.
with a torch,
And the
400,
next step
400
is
degrees.
not going to be done randomly.
They
We're going
exposed
to base
the
ourselves
sphere
on
to
different
this heat
institutions,
and then attach it,
different
it was absolutely
research
cold.
studies, so that we obtain scientific results. We want to make tests on the fiber optics, and we want to obtain different results. If there's different diameters on each fiber, then each one has its own function.
Different functions, yes, yes.
Everything from communication to satellite communication as well. Reason for which I would like to thank Mexico's Autonomous University for letting me participate in this event. Please don't change anything on this report. It's got to be maintained whole. Try not to improvise on this report. This is the reason why I am thankful to everyone. What do the results tell you, Rodolfo?
And do more
Well, many
scientific
things.
tests, different organizations and
It has a
reports
first name
that
and a
you can
last
compare.
name. What is it?
Results.
A technological sphere.
Yes.
Yeah, fiber optics is not anything, and the variation in diameters are used for different purposes. One is used for communication and the other is used for something else. Who do you think manufactured it? I have no idea, Jaime. Is there a lot more to investigate? Yes, there's a lot more if you allow me to do the necessary research. Thank you very much.